Well, it's nice to be in a business that, I guess by volume, is expanding, particularly a media business. But let's be honest, folks, if you read the headlines in the newspapers and in your own field of expertise, I mean, it's official, we're in a recession, a technical recession. I don't know what the difference is between technical and being in a recession, and times are tough. When we look at sort of the news hub closure, part of that was caused by a $100 million drop in advertising revenue. $100 million. And that has flow-on effects. So what is going on with our economy? And as the government retrenches and cuts back, what can we expect? I note that an NZIER survey of business confidence has it down. And to get a handle on this, I thought I'd talk to someone who represents many, many businesses in New Zealand. Kirk from Business New Zealand. He joins us on the phone now. Kirk, are we in the doldrums? Are people and businesses blue about their prospects right now?
Yeah, we are a bit, Sean. I mean, I think there was a real bounce after the election, and good morning, by the way. Yeah. There was a real bounce after the election in kind of business confidence where businesses were anticipating seeing some of the things that the government was going to do, in particular removal of rules that were going to make business doing easier. They've done some of that stuff quite quickly. Some of it will take probably more time than people might have anticipated if they're listening to political rhetoric. That's just the nature of politics. I think the other challenge is, what you wouldn't necessarily have anticipated last year would be, a terrorist attack by Hamas, an extension and an ongoing conflict between the Ukraine and Russia. So those are international events which businesses in New Zealand are impacted by but cannot in any way change. So when you look at the picture, it's quite a challenging one. You've already talked about the consequences of the government choosing to quite wisely actually reduce its expenditure to something that's probably more sustainable. That has an impact on businesses who are suppliers to the government, and then businesses who are suppliers to the suppliers to government. So it has a kick-on effect. So
it's a bit like there's no sugar hit here. We're actually on a diet, but it will make us feel better in the medium to long term.
Look, I mean, I think the other thing that's happening, which I haven't mentioned, is, of course, the cost of capital has gone through the roof. Really, if you think about the official cash rate, that's the rate at which the Reserve Bank set the cost of money, was about 0.5%. Probably only 2.5 years ago, it's 5.5 and holding now as a way to try and deal with some of these inflationary pressures which are affecting people's cost of living. Now, that is a real cost for business, and what a lot of businesses will be doing is looking at the trajectory of that interest rate and saying it's going to decline. I can see we're getting a handle on inflation, or the Reserve Bank. It's having an impact. People are spending less. The government's spending less. Okay, once that happens, my cost of capital will go down. I might be in a better place to invest in. That's in the future sometime, right? So at the moment, it's very much a holding pattern economy, I'd describe it as.
Okay, so it could be a long, cold winter.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty likely. People who can see the light at the end of the tunnel will be trying to hang in there. There's still some good stuff going on. So people who have demand will be trying to hold on to it. They might see their competitors out of the market, so that gives them a little bit more of an advantage. And then they can see that cost of capital declining, which means that they can then go forward and think about investing and taking advantage of some of those spaces where there is less competition than there might have been a year ago.
Yeah. Is there anything more the government can do to bolster or reinforce business confidence?
Look, I think they need to, despite what you might hear in a lot of media, I think they actually really need to press on with the pathway that they're going on. And you'll read a lot of things and hear a lot of things about, the negativity of fast-track consenting. Well, actually, if you think about what's going on in the economy at the moment, it's kind of an expansion of what occurred in Christchurch after the earthquakes, where the economy took a big hit in Christchurch. they used fast-track consenting to try and get the city up and running again. That's exactly what the government are trying to do for the country. We've got a big infrastructure deficit, so the sooner they can do some of those things and get some shovels in the ground, I think that's real meaningful change in two ways, because it's activity. You need people with shovels to be doing work. And secondly, it's a signal. And thirdly, that signal is that infrastructure will be built. It'll be better for people's lives. So you can talk about productivity, you can talk about GDP, you can talk about all that stuff, but it'll actually be better for people's lives and make it easier and better to get around New Zealand. So the sooner they start to get into that stuff, I think the better it is. And they've set a cracking pace, which is a good thing.
You're right. But admissions, I understand yesterday that the government will borrow and still borrow more and still give out tax cuts or tax relief. Surely that's not the way forward.
Well, I mean, I think you probably see a lot of commentators who said you shouldn't give tax cuts, it's inflationary,